Alright, boys and girls, today I'm going to be reading from a book about the artist Peter Bruegel. This is Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artist, Peter Bruegel. It's written and illustrated by Mike Venezia. Peter Bruegel was born sometime around 1527 near Antwerp, a city in the country that is now called Belgium. Except for what people can tell from his drawings and paintings, very little is known about Peter Bruegel's life. Peter Bruegel probably learned about art in the workshop of Peter Kecke van Elst, a famous artist in Antwerp. No one knew at the time, but when Peter Kecke van Elst's little daughter, Mayken, grew up, she and Bruegel would fall in love and get married. "Hey, Mr. Bruegel, would you draw a picture of my doll? Can we go out and play? Would you carry me on your shoulders? I can count to 100. Want to hear? Okay, here it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This kid is driving me nuts." Antwerp is a very important city during Peter Bruegel's time. People from all over the world went there to trade and to buy such things as spices, books, and maps. They also borrowed money from the city's many banks. Wealthy people who lived in Antwerp were always looking for works of art to fill up the large rooms of their mansions. "You know, dear, I think we need some new art for the baby's room. It feels so empty." Whoa, that's a lot of art. They were mainly interested in paintings of scenery, known as landscapes, and in the work of great Italian artists of the time. In 1552, Peter Bruegel decided to travel to Italy to see for himself how the Italian artists painted. In Italy, Bruegel probably learned how artists such as Michelangelo, Raphael painted people in more natural three-dimensional ways. But the drawings from Bruegel's trip show he was mainly interested in the scenery he saw along the way. This is a cool drawing, especially the beautiful mountains. Now this is where it gets really interesting, boys and girls. When Peter Bruegel returned from his trip, he didn't start to paint right away. He decided instead to work for a well-known printer in Antwerp. The printer made copies of Peter Bruegel's drawings and sold them to people all over Europe. Look at this drawing. Some of Bruegel's prints show that he was influenced by the work of an earlier great artist, Hieronymus Bosch. Peter Bruegel loved Bosch's strange scenes filled with weird creatures. Sometimes it's hard to tell the two artists' work apart. Most of Bruegel's first paintings were landscapes, meaning a picture of a large area outside. He combined the scenery near his home with the mountains and valleys he remembered from his trip to Italy. Bruegel was very interested in landscapes, but he also enjoyed painting people. He added more people to his work as time went on. And did you notice the little boy crashing into the water down there? Many of Bruegel's works of art show his great interest in the poor people who lived out in the countryside, like these people. These people were known as peasants. Sometimes Bruegel painted them hard at work, planting, growing, or harvesting crops. And that's what they're doing right here. They're harvesting crops. Other times, he would show them having fun during a holiday or a special occasion. Even though Bruegel came from a large city, he knew a lot about how the poor people in the country lived. One story tells how he and a friend would dress up like peasants and sneak into their parties. Sometimes they even brought gifts along. "Bruegel, I think they know we're not peasants. I wonder what could have tipped them off." They're wearing disguises. That's funny. In this painting, Bruegel showed people acting out proverbs. A proverb is a short saying that teaches a lesson. In the 1500s, many people expected a good painting to teach them a lesson and be filled with lots of interesting things to look at. Bruegel's paintings did both things very well. Then this is a very interesting painting. There's a fish over there swallowing another fish. That's one of my favorite parts. Many experts think that Bruegel may have put important secret messages into some of his paintings. Ooh, intriguing. Messages that only he and a few others knew about. Sometimes these paintings included strange and frightening symbols and images, and this painting is kind of scary. But I like it anyways. Bruegel disguised the messages in some of his paintings because he lived during a very dangerous time. If you offended the wrong person, you could get into real trouble. The painting of the Bible story above may have been a way of showing the cruelty of the Spanish king, who was ruling Bruegel's country at the time. Children's games may also contain a secret message. Bruegel may have been showing that the people who ran his city and ruled its churches were acting like children and not taking their jobs very seriously. Two of Bruegel's most famous paintings show that he was able to paint people as naturally and three-dimensionally as the great Italian artists. Bruegel's paintings were different, though, because he painted real, everyday people instead of mythological gods, angels, and famous heroes that the Italian artists were known for. Peter Bruegel was also able to capture special moments in time, just as a good photographer could do. Hunters in the Snow is one of the group paintings Bruegel did to show the different seasons of the year. It's interesting to look at the beautiful scenery and the activities going on all over the countryside, but it's the way Bruegel makes you almost feel the chilly weather that makes this one of his greatest paintings. Oh yeah, it looks really cold, doesn't it? Peter Bruegel's family was filled with artists. His mother and father were both well-known painters of the day. Oh, it's not so bad living with a family of artists once you get used to it. Oh my gosh, look at the mess all around. Bruegel's two sons also became famous artists, but neither of them quite had their father's imagination or were able to put the same kind of human feelings into their paintings. Because Peter Bruegel created his own special style of art and often didn't go along with the fashion of the day, his paintings were always popular. Peter Bruegel died in 1569. That's a long time ago. For many years after, people thought he was just a fun-loving artist who wanted to make people laugh. But Peter Bruegel did much more than that. He was able to paint scary as well as beautiful things, and show that the people he painted might have been like in real life. Maybe more than any other great artist, Peter Bruegel created unforgettable art that is just plain fun to look at. And this is my favorite painting by Peter Bruegel, The Tower of Babel. When people look at a Peter Bruegel painting, they often think he used very few colors. At first glance, his pictures seem to be an overall brown or gray or dark yellow. But if you look closely, you'll be surprised to find that Bruegel used lots of bright reds, blues, greens, and even pinks. The paintings in this book came from the museums listed below.